The Phoenix Dream Center is expanding their Hope Wing, which is a place for survivors of human trafficking to find healing, restoration, and love once again.
It's like a part of their life has been taken away. To know that they've gone through so much and so many things have happened and they're still fighting and most of them succeed. It's breathtaking and it's just a miracle to be able to be a part of the process.
Who's there when the tears start flowing in the middle of the night? Who's going to be there to hold these hands through that very, very delicate, very scary, very expensive healing process? And we believe God called us to be there. So the Phoenix Dream Center is actually part of a larger group. We have a really large family of nearly 300 dream centers worldwide. And our core mission is to go into a community, find a need and fill it, find a hurt and heal it. In 2008, my wife and I started to do ride-alongs with the Phoenix Police Department. And it was when we were first introduced to this thing we now call human trafficking. The question we all had was, what is the church's response to human trafficking? Very few of our survivors who are 18 to 26, very few of them did the trafficking start after they turned 18. Most of them, it started at 12, 13, 14 years old. So we're getting the victims who've been in the life, who never got recovered out of the life, who've been in the life for 5, 6 years. The trauma is just even more deeply seated and deeply rooted. So survivors are coming to us without those life skills, without really any kind of a vision for what's next in their life.
Well, the Dream Center is an old hotel, and most trauma that they have incurred has happened in hotels. So one of the biggest things for us was, how do we change the space so that they're not walking into a room that looks like an old hotel? My favorite day is taking somebody into an intake room, because the moment that they walk into that intake room, they think it's gonna look like a hotel, and they walk in and they just see something so aesthetically beautiful, and they're like, is this really for me? And you get to tell them yes. And most of them start crying because they're like, what do I have to do for it? And you get to tell them nothing. You just have to believe in yourself. You just have to try hard. And you just have to dream. The worst part of our day is having somebody call the hotline and us being able to tell them, I'm sorry, we're full. Because it takes so much for somebody to be able to make that phone call or to be able to get away and say, hey, I'm ready. Please come help me. That's why we decided to make our emergency housing program, but we need to expand. We need more beds.
We have the rooms, they're not ready, they're not up to the different licensing and the different codes and the design that we know works best for survivors. And so we have the raw materials. Our stumbling block to get 4 more girls in right now is just to remodel one of these rooms. And we don't just have one room available, we have several of these rooms available. We've had donors who've given $100, and that's amazing. It goes toward the remodeling. We've had donors give the full $15,000 to $20,000, and we've had donors give even more. And so every bit of it, as we get the money to remodel, we remodel the rooms. As the rooms get done, literally that day or that week, people are moved into those rooms. You'll never go wrong giving money, knowing that you're helping to build a bedroom where a kid's gonna sleep safely. I mean, just to be able to think that you're giving that, or that your family is leaving a legacy by creating a bedroom or a room. I can't think of any probably more noble thing that you and your family could do, knowing that every time you go to sleep or every time you have dinner, that someone's sleeping in that room and is safe.
We just had one of our survivors that moved out, and she just got her own place, and it was so awesome because she just would not take anything less than making sure that her house or her apartment looked like a dream room. She saw how she can live, and she knew that she could live that way because she deserved it.
Well, today's guest is absolutely amazing. His name is Carlos Daniel, and he is the Development Director at the Phoenix Dream Center. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Aubrey. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited that you're here today.
Thank
you
you.
are just so full of joy. You're always laughing. I love that about you. So how did you get involved with the Phoenix Dream Center?
Yeah, so it's really cool. There's different people get involved in different ways. Mine just started with a volunteer request about over 5 years ago now. Back in high school, I sent a volunteer request, and then in college, that turned into an internship. And then after college, I started working at the Phoenix Dream Center, and I've been there for working daily for about 2 years now.
Wow. And so you told me that your heart just broke because GCU and the Dream Center is near a certain street. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so GCU is actually like 5 minutes away from the Phoenix Dream Center. And when I was interning with the Phoenix Dream Center, I would pass a street called 27th Avenue, and it's actually called the Blade. And it's one of the most trafficked streets here in the Valley. And so, goodness, we do outreaches there every Saturday in an undisclosed location. And the girls will just be either brought in by traffickers because they use the word of mouth so much that they'll just literally drive by, drop them off, and drive away. And so we'll give them all of the female products they need. We'll give them fresh pair of clothes, give them those resources, and try to really bring them into services. And so we do outreach for the girls that are still walking. We've seen some cases where literally a door opened from a really rundown apartment complex, and there were a whole bunch of girls in there. And so we just had to immediately call authorities. And the crazy thing in those situations is you would want to walk up to the girl, but if you do that and the trafficker sees, they'll punish the girl. And so you have to be very careful the way you approach that situation.
And so human trafficking is a huge issue in Arizona specifically,
Yes.
right? What's it like in Arizona?
Yeah, so in Arizona, it's transportation is a big thing. This state is right next to California. It's right next to Nevada, right next to Mexico, and so it's really a hub for transportation. People are taken in, taken out, and so that's the strategic location for traffickers.
Absolutely, and I know the Phoenix Dream Center has a huge part in helping rehabilitate
Yep.
girls who've been through sex trafficking.
Yeah.
Will you tell us about the Hope Wing and
Yeah.
what you're hoping to do with that?
So Hope Wing started in 2009. Hope Wing began with Brian and Sky Steele. They actually found a 13-year-old girl on the side of the road that was, she was just by herself. She was alone, and most people would drive, but they stopped. And they stopped and they started asking her, hey, like, what are you doing out here? You know, why are you here? And during that conversation, they found out that she was being sex trafficked, that she was 13 years old, and that she needed help. And so they immediately took her to authorities. And that's when they built the Hope Wing program. And so in 2009, we were serving the minors. Then we started serving young adults. And so we knew that we just had to expand everything. And so we serve the minors. They're served in Streetlight USA. And then the young adults, once they turn 18, they're served in our Hope Wing. We serve up to 48 young women and 12 young men.
And so how can people help? How can we help you guys expand the Hope Wing and get more beds?
So a part of the expansion is also expanding our capacity. And so let's say we bring 20 new survivors at the Phoenix Dream Center. At that point, we're going to need another 15-passenger vehicle to take them to equine therapy. If they have a specialist doctor's appointment, take them to recreational activities like the lake, a snow day. And so expanding the capacity is important.
Absolutely. So how can we help and get involved?
So there's a couple different ways. You could always volunteer. So Joanna Shipe, she runs our mentor teams. And what I love about our mentor teams is that it gives a survivor like the opportunity to see that someone isn't just giving $1, but they're actually giving of themselves. And so each survivor at the Phoenix Dream Center is going to be surrounded by 9 different mentors throughout their journey. There's 4 pillars in their recovery process. And when they first get to the Dream Center, they can get here mostly through law enforcement, so the FBI, the Phoenix Police, Homeland Security. If they do a raid, they find a girl, they'll bring them to the Dream Center. And then they'll complete their pillars. Their second and third pillar will bring that mentor team around them. And so if they have a baby, or if they're pregnant, we'll have a parenting mentor. When they transition out of the Phoenix Dream Center, we'll have the housing mentor. If they're an education mentor. And so different mentors. And what's really awesome is that throughout their program, they'll also be earning credits. And it's incentivizing good behavior. Hey, you're going to your classes. Hey, you saw another resident just really having a bad day. You went over and you consoled them, And those credits will turn up to $5,000. And when they graduate, each resident, those credits will turn into dollars. And so each resident will have a $5,000 nest egg where they can transition with their mentor team, with the community backing them back into the community, that they're stable, they're grounded, and they're really living out their dream. They're successful in that.
Well, you guys have created such a beautiful program, not just to rehabilitate and heal, but also prepare them for their future. So thank you for all you do at the Dream Center,
Thank
Carlos.
you, Aubrey. Thank you, Aubrey.
Well, if you want to get involved in an initiative that is changing Arizona, changing the lives of young girls who are survivors of sex trafficking, go to phoenixdreamcenter.org to find out how you can be a mentor, or how you can give your time or even your finances to help forward this amazing mission that is called the Hope Wing.